So I'd say the highlight of the residency for me was the opening of the Mayo Artist Show. I had asked Nick if he would perform some musical pieces on our leg of the opening, and he said he would, and then he said he would pick a number of pieces and compose musical responses to them. So he picked 4 artworks, and over the course of the evening at the opening he performed all 4, and it was just a spectacular moment. The audience that was there loved it. The artists, all 4 were present. They were blown away, really honoured and everything.
Well, one of the things that I think I have been thinking about a lot is the relationship between visual information and sound, and that kind of mapping mechanism. Because I would say a lot of my kind of mapping of music has been very heavily influenced by language, and thinking about music in that way, and textually. So that's been something that I've been thinking of. You know, the 4 paintings that I improvised the pieces to are quite different and had different ways of kind of working with it. Sometimes you're working with the kind of the mood of an image and the general kind of vibe of it, and sometimes you're more literally, as you see with the Michael O'Boyle, reading the image as a score, you know, as a kind of a graphic notation. So yeah, the kind of the mapping of visual to sonic has been something I've been thinking about. You know, but yeah, it's difficult. I think about the same kinds of things every day, wherever I am, basically.
So this has been our first musician in residence project. Residencies is something that we've always, you know, looked at and planned to do at some point. The COVID period has seen us now having had 2 residency programs. We had a dance artist in residence last year, and we've had Nick, of course, for the last 10 days. There are so many benefits of residencies to an art centre venue like ourselves, to bring top quality professional artists into a community. You know, ideally in a discipline where, in the case of Nick, you know, there isn't a contemporary jazz scene really in Ballina. There was a bit of more of a traditional jazz scene based around a pub that was in town called PJ Duffy's. PJ Duffy himself was a saxophone player, and he would have gigs in the pub with him and his band. On Thursday night last week, I brought Nick down to a PJ Duffy gig in another pub. So Nick played with the guys for half the set, and I could see that he really enjoyed it, and the guys really enjoyed it as well. So it was a great start to the residency.
So I arrived on Wednesday. Sean showed me to the room I have here, which is just off the library, upstairs, and got a sense of the space. And then we started into it on Thursday. I had a walk around the town with Terry Riley, who's a local historian. And I did the first session with the core group, the kind of children's improvising ensemble here through Music Generation. And then I sat in with the PJ Duffy band in the Cotton Cobble. And PJ is his late 70s, early 80s, used to run a pub here and do the jam sessions. He brought clarinet, flute, alto, tenor, baritone saxophones, and played keyboard. We sat and played some tunes. And then the next day was the opening of the Mayo Artist Show, which you can see around you. And I improvised pieces to 4 of the paintings, or to 4 of the works in the show. And I performed those as part of the exhibition opening on the Friday night.
The benefits of a residency to the developmental work of an art centre like Ballina Arts Centre are huge. Having a living, breathing artist on the ground, helps demystify some of these more contemporary art forms. The opportunity for someone like Nick to do a workshop like he did during the week with a traditional Irish céilí band. He did a workshop with a group of 15 to 18-year-olds from the Beaufield Céilí band on Wednesday night. I love those things because some of those kids may not have been exposed to jazz or even ideas like improvisation. They would come from a more rigidly disciplined background in music, a lot of them. So for them to sit down with Nick for an hour and play together and see his way of working in front of their eyes, that has huge benefits, I think. And that's what I really like to use residencies for at the moment. As I was saying, we might not have a big jazz community, but there are other musical genres in the town. So having somebody of Nick's flexibility and his experience and abilities, it's been really good.
Like basically what you need is a space to make sound, make music, play, practice, play with other people, and then a space to kind of work and think and kind of a quieter desk space, and then somewhere to live, eat and sleep. And I'm fairly fortunate in that I've somehow managed to engineer my life so that those things are always present, more or less every day. And in that kind of fragile balance, we can continue to survive in any location. So, our practice is fairly portable. Musicians are by nature nomadic. We are creatures of the road. That's one of the things that draws us to music is this means to travel. It's something that you have to be able to bring with you in your kind of personal and mental caravan. As an artist, your work is developing every day. Like your work and your practice, and wherever you are in the world, you're constantly developing and thinking of ideas and working on stuff simultaneously. And new things come to light every day. Like literally every day, you'll think of something, or you'll have an idea, or things will change in some way.
Having a residency like this helps future programming. For certain aspects of our program, we would still have relatively small audiences. They're growing all the time. Things like jazz is a growing audience, and the presence of Nick, in Ballina for 10 days, the relationships he's made with individuals and groups, not just in music but in other art forms, that helps grow the development of jazz.